Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockne era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Tim Priester, Tim O'Malley, Coach Rockne joining us here outside Notre Dame Stadium. We just spoke with Marcus Freeman and talked about a variety of topics. Let's start with what they've done on the practice field. He said it's been a lot of good on good, so the preparation from that standpoint has been very good. They'll pull back from this point on, or I guess after tomorrow. But, good on good, that's the best way to prepare for a very good opponent coming up.
Yeah, good on good and without too much tackling because, as he mentioned, the most important part of this game is their ability to tackle Oklahoma State, but you can't go good on good and tackle all December because the team needs a rest. They got to stay crisp, but you also can't lose a player. He just mentioned nowadays you don't tackle in December as much. So his one concern will be how well they tackle, and that's the most important part of the game. So I guess if you look at it that way, his concern is valid, and I would think if you look back at Marcus Freeman's history, Cincinnati tackled awfully well against Georgia last year, right? And they were able to, this isn't a change, the not tackling in December, but I think it's something for Notre Dame fans to look at. Will they be able to come out as crisp as they played defensively at the end of the year?
Yeah, and the challenge is the Oklahoma State quarterback is tough to corral. Spencer is a guy that they're going to have to tackle very well. He said, he was talking about the Oklahoma State defense and how they've been able to do a lot of things because they have a veteran coordinator. Coming in here, it was a learning process, and they had to simplify things. He realized, I guess, about the North Carolina game that they were doing too much, simplified things. Now they faced some opponents that certainly weren't as good as some of the ones they faced in the first half, but they got a lot better doing that.
Yeah, he took us on a little journey of the season, kind of. You even mentioned them. I'm kind of jealous. It was your question, so I assume you're going to be writing about this. But it was the first two games. He's like, man, that is not what I expected. We're going to have to scrap some things. And then they lose Kyle Hamilton when he thought they were hitting their stride. And then against North Carolina, he's like, we just have to pull back. And they pulled back. They played worse teams. But it's clear the defense was playing better, more sound football, and it's remarkable they did so without Kyle Hamilton. They had to have guys step up, guys that you never would have guessed could step up and have Notre Dame go undefeated without Kyle Hamilton. The point about having veteran defensive coordinator and veteran players, Notre Dame's players are bringing that up. Braden Lindsey said you put on the tape, you see a bunch of senior dudes knowing exactly what they want to do, and that's what sticks out to him for Oklahoma State. So I think that's a really intriguing matchup, Notre Dame's offense against their D.
They've got 9 seniors on defense that start, so it's very good. It was mentioned, or he was asked if he would be doing the defensive play calling. He said he still hasn't made a decision. I thought it was interesting that in practice settings, it's Elston that's actually making the calls. So, I would imagine that's a possibility. But Elston's making the calls because Marcus Freeman's got a different role in preparation for this game.
Yeah, part referee, I guess. I didn't get that part. But, if you're the head coach, you can't be making defensive play calls during practice. You're the head coach. You have to see other things. What I found really intriguing today was I asked him about Tyree. Is Tyree starting to look like Chris Tyree can look? He's like, I haven't watched the offense much until just now, so I don't know what Tyree looked like in November. I never see him. I don't watch film of Notre Dame's offense. It is clear that this is Tommy Rees's offense for the bowl game. I guess there's no other way of looking at it. And maybe Marcus Freeman is just so honest it's refreshing, but it is obviously going to be a division of duty in this one. I get the feeling if Freeman doesn't call the plays, he's going to have an ear on every play call because it's his game plan. And he said game plans are more important than defensive play calls. Not everyone will agree with him on that. He mentioned among coordinators, but he said the game plan you have, if it's clear, you can make defensive play calls or somebody else can.
Yeah, he was asked about the hirings and how quickly he'll want to do that. And I thought it was interesting because he said the number one criteria for his defensive coordinator is fit within the staff because the rest of the staff is staying the same. And I think that's kind of contrary to what a lot of people want to hear generally because they want to hear that he's going to go out and get the best defensive coordinator that is possible. And certainly he's going to try to do that. But it's not the old boys network. It's a comfort zone that you're looking for in a coach. And so that's why frequently head coaches look to guys that they have a familiarity with, because they know the chemistry of the staff is very, very important.
Well, the guy better know Freeman's defense or be willing to learn quickly Marcus Freeman's defense because Freeman wants to have what Oklahoma State has going on right now. He wants year 2 to be much better than year 1. And you asked him about his first year at Cincinnati. He immediately jumped in and cut you off and said, 94th ranked defense. Yeah. Then they were up to 8th.
Number 8 the
next year. So he is not going to change too much. So the defensive hire, he wants it to be fast, but he pointed out, look, it's a collective effort. I'm going to talk to the staff. He makes the decision. Nowadays, of course, the collective is going to have to slow down a little bit. I think once they get past this maybe January. But yeah, I understand you want to bring in someone that knows your defense, knows how you want to run everything, and you know enough about them to make this work, because the strength in the staff right now is there's 7 guys back. I mean, that Notre Dame built something, and they have most of it back, and that makes sense. You want to add to that.
Just want to insert for speculation about coaches that will be hired after the bowl game. Go to irishillustrated.com, and we had an update on that. I did want to mention Tyler Buckner's name was brought up. He spoke extremely highly of him. His release, his throwing of the football, it kind of sounds like Buckner has taken a step up here in December and will be a part of the offensive plan. You're right. Tommy Rees has to be the guy. There's nobody else to turn to. I mean, certainly amongst the staff, Lance Taylor, but Tommy Rees is the guy that's going to make those decisions.
Yeah, and I should clarify when I say he hasn't seen Chris Tyree, he meant in November. I asked him if Chris Tyree was getting better from what he saw during the year. He's seen Chris Tyree during bowl prep. But Rees is going to be part head coach in this game, right? It's a natural thing. I think for people to say, well, he's not taking enough control, I think that's jumping the gun. I think they're doing the exact right, whether it works or not, you're doing the exact right thing for a one-off bowl prep. Then the Marcus Freeman era starts in a different way following this game, and it's really probably the only way to go about it. They've had time constraints too, no matter, they work these practices in, but man, you can tell looking at Marcus Freeman, he's like, there's a lot going on right now. Transfer portal coming in, transfer portal coming out, guys that might go to the NFL. He's already had a couple opt-outs. It's just a lot more going on, and someday he'll be able to sit down with X's and O's. He mentioned he hasn't done as many X's and O's. He's going to have to soon.
I can't even believe how many moving parts a guy like that in that situation has to deal with. And lastly, with COVID being a situation here, we've seen one bowl game.
Out more. This is our last access in any way.
Right. Virtual. It'll be nothing but virtual. I'm glad that I'm not going out any earlier to Phoenix, because it'll be all virtual now at the Fiesta Bowl. And the Notre Dame team was given the option just to come out 2 days before the game. But Marcus Freeman felt it was important that they got together earlier and spent the time together there. They will kind of be in a bubble. I'm not sure exactly where they're staying. We're in Scottsdale. I'm not sure where they are, but they will kind of be in a bubble. I asked him if he considered not letting the players go home at all for Christmas. He said it was a consideration, but I don't think that they wanted to change those plans. So they just want to get out to Phoenix, form their own bubble, and win a championship. He said that phrase a couple times, a Fiesta Bowl championship.
There's clearly more risk now going home than when they were on campus, but they weren't in a bubble on campus. So the plans were to go home. They want to see their families. They're going to be home briefly. I think the key was he preached, be smart. We want you to be playing in the Fiesta Bowl game. You can see other friends from home at other times. It's just they have to be smart going home. It's harder. It's difficult, but they have not been in a bubble on campus. They've been going out every Saturday night after wins and everything like that in South Bend. I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation. We found out in there that our access will be virtual for the entire Fiesta Bowl. I am still glad I'm going out, because my warm hotel outside my hotel will be beautiful in Phoenix, and I'm okay working on Zoom calls in Phoenix. It's fine. So I'll be out there early, and I can just be on my desk and walk outside and have some fun.
That'll definitely work for us. That's 3 straight days of instant analysis. On Thursday, we'll have a podcast, and then heading into the Christmas break. I hope everybody enjoys it. We're looking forward to a little bit of a break, and we will talk to you tomorrow at the podcast.